I start cooking when my husband leaves work, giving myself 30 minutes on the clock. Tonight we're having meat candies with a side of rice and steamed broccoli and cauliflower. Let's see if I can beat the clock. It's still the week between Christmas and New Year's, so we're continuing on with our theme of what can I use out of the pantry or refrigerator before it goes bad. I'm gonna do a few extra meatballs tonight just because I wanna have something in the refrigerator that's a little bit more fresh for the rest of the week for our lunches and suppers. These meatballs come together really quickly. I just start out with 2 pounds of hamburger. I'm gonna add in 4 slices of bread that I've just cubed up into 1/4-inch size pieces. You can use whatever bread you have on hand. And in fact, I think you can use panko breadcrumbs according to many recipes I've seen. And then I have a 1/2 of a yellow onion that I've already diced. One of the key ingredients is ginger. This time of year I have fresh ginger. I've got about a teaspoon. I would normally use about 2 teaspoons per pound of meat. We're gonna try 1 teaspoon. We haven't made this recipe with her yet, so I'm curious to see if that ginger is gonna be too overpowering, and especially with it being fresh, I wanna go a little bit lighter. Then I have 2 eggs. I'm gonna add just a little bit of milk to this. Normally I would do about a 1/2 cup of milk per 1 pound of meat for my standard meat cups or meatballs. I'm gonna go closer to like a 1/2 cup overall. For our seasonings, we're gonna go in with some coconut aminos. You can also use soy sauce. Hey, this is brand new, so it's not open yet. Oopsie. I don't know, a tablespoon or so. Gonna get a lot of our flavor from those coconut aminos. And then a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. Good dash of that. I'm sure it won't have enough seasoning. Lastly, we're gonna go in with some salt and pepper. Again, we go light on pepper in this household. It's just not a favorite seasoning for anybody here. Then mix this together. There's a fine line between overmixed and perfectly mixed when it comes to meatballs or any type of meatloaf. You have to be sure that your seasoning gets fully mixed into the entire batch. However, you don't want to overmix this or else it'll get really tough. I think my advice would be to go in with your non-dominant hand and mix around. I just don't like to get meat underneath my fingernails, so I'm going the lazy way. We're using a fork. It's taking me just a little bit longer, but it's worth it to keep my hands relatively clean. We call these meat candies not because there's any type of candy to them. It's just a term that my husband came up with. He just thinks that they taste so good with the ginger in these. I think we're perfectly mixed here. And I'm just gonna set this off to the side for a second, wash my hands, and then we'll get to it. Our meatballs are gonna go into the air fryer for 15 minutes at 400 degrees. I use an ice cream scoop to scoop them out, again, because I don't want to touch the meat. You can totally roll these out and make them all perfect, but you're gonna get some nice little crispy edges if you do it like this and just leave them a little bit imperfect, because that's what we do in this kitchen. Next up, we're gonna start working on our rice. Come with me over to the stove. For our rice, we're gonna start out with the whites of that green onion and then a drizzle of olive oil. Get this sauteing, and I'm gonna go rinse my rice. I'm gonna add in our rice. We're gonna toast this for just a minute or 2 until we start to get a nice brown color to it. Now that our rice is nice and toasty, I'm gonna go ahead and add in 2 cups of liquid. Bring this to a boil. I almost forgot the salt. I am gonna add a little bit of salt into our rice right now while I can stir it in. This rice is just starting to boil, so I'm gonna go ahead and get it covered so it can steam. Reduce the heat down to, I don't have a tight fitting lid. You'll see that there's a pretty big gap over here. My trick for this is a piece of tin foil that I wrap around the top. I still put the lid on just so I know not to touch it. That is gonna help keep all of the steam nice and trapped in there, and you're gonna have a super fluffy rice at the end of this 20 minutes. The final thing that I have to do is just get my broccoli and cauliflower ready to go. I had some of this left over. I just rinsed this off. Now I'm just gonna cut off the broccoli florets into bite-sized pieces. I've got a couple inches of water in my steamer basket here. I'm not gonna beat the clock tonight. I just heard the dinger go off. This meal just took me a little bit longer. It really is a 30-minute meal. If you are more prepared than me, I was just a little bit slow. Garlic, salt, lid, let it go. Everything's coming together perfectly here. I just have to put together our sauce, which is gonna be a drizzle of sriracha to your liking, however much heat you want. A tablespoon or a scoop of mayonnaise. Again, adjust this to your preference. And then those same coconut aminos that we used in the meatballs, we're gonna drizzle in, still haven't figured this out. We're gonna drizzle in about a teaspoon or so. To serve this up, you're just gonna put your rice in the bottom of your bowl with your veggies and then a few of those meat candies, and see how they're nice and crispy on the edge. They're so perfect in the air fryer. Drizzle that sauce on top. Let me see if I can get a perfect bite here. So good.